All right, everyone get comfortable. Recline the seat a little if you have to. We are currently parked in the bustling, chaotic heart of modern commerce, the parking lot of the Walmart Supercenter on Rockton Road in Roscoe, Illinois. I know. You are thinking, why on earth are we starting a tour here? But you have to understand the sociology of this place. Look out the window. This isn't just a store. In a town like Roscoe, which grew so fast it barely had time to build a traditional downtown, this is the village square. On a Sunday morning, half the town is here getting groceries before the Bears game. On a Friday night, you see the high school kids leaning against their cars in the back rows, just figuring out what to do with their evening. It is the hub. It is the crossroads where you run into your old gym teacher, your neighbor, and that guy you went to high school with 20 years ago. Let's get the car moving. We are navigating the speed bumps, slow and steady. We are weaving through the shoppers, pushing carts full of dog food and cases of water. We are heading for the exit to turn onto East Rockton Road. We are going to be sitting here for a minute waiting for a gap in traffic, so let's talk about where we actually are. If we were sitting in this exact spot 35 years ago, we wouldn't be on asphalt. We would be surrounded by 7-foot-tall corn stalks. The transformation of this area is staggering. Roscoe was a sleepy, blinking-you-miss-it farming village for a century. Then, the secret got out. People realized they could live here, have a massive yard, great schools, and safe streets, and still commute to Rockford or even Chicago. This parking lot sits on land that was feeding families for generations, and now it feeds them in a different way. Okay, I see a gap. We are turning right. We are heading east on Rockton Road. Feel the energy on this road. Is frantic. To your right, you have the fast food row, Culver's, the car washes, the banks. Is the architecture of modern American suburbia. But look just past that. You see the overpass? That is Interstate 90. That is the Golden Corridor. That highway is the reason this Walmart exists. It connects us to the entire world. Living here means living in the slipstream of that highway. You can hear at night a low hum like the ocean. It means we are connected to the skyscrapers of Chicago and the lakes of Minnesota. We are coming up on the traffic light for Willowbrook Road. Put your left blinker on. We are going to leave the noise behind. Green arrow. Here we go. Turning left onto Willowbrook. And exhale. Do you feel that? It happens every time you make that turn. The noise of the semi-trucks on the highway vanishes. The neon signs disappear. Suddenly, the sky opens up. This is Willowbrook Road. For the next few miles, this is just us and the land. I want you to really look at the fields on either side of us. It looks empty, but it is alive. This is some of the most fertile soil on the North American continent. This is the Black Earth. During the last ice age, glaciers sat right on top of where we are driving. When they melted, they left behind this incredibly rich, dark topsoil and massive deposits of gravel underneath. That geology dictates everything here. It dictates the crops, it dictates the drainage, and it dictates the economy. If you drive this road in August, it is a canyon of green. The corn is so high you can't see the horizon. But right now, imagine it in January. This is what locals call the tundra. There are no trees to stop the wind. When a nor'easter blows through, the snow doesn't just fall, it races across this road horizontally. We call them ground blizzards. The sun can be shining, the sky can be blue, but the road is a whiteout of drifting snow. Learning to drive a sedan down Willowbrook Road in a crosswind is a rite of passage for every teenager in this town. You learn to feel the ice through the steering wheel. You learn respect. As we cruise north, look at the houses. You see a real timeline of American architecture here. Set way back from a road, you'll see the modern custom homes, brick fronts, 3-car garages, basketball hoops in the driveway. That is the new Roscoe. But look closer. Look for the white clapboard houses that sit a little lower to the ground. Look for the big red barns that are leaning just a little bit to the south. Those are the anchors. Those are the homesteads that have been here since the 1860s. Those families are still here, by the way. They are still farming the land around the subdivisions. It is a delicate dance between the tractors and the minivans. You have to be patient when you get stuck behind a combine doing 15 miles an hour on this road. You don't honk. You wave, because that guy is feeding you. We are driving through the heart of the Hononegah School District right now. If you aren't from here, that name might sound like a tongue twister. Hononegah. It is named after a Potawatomi woman who was a key figure in the early history of this region. The high school is the cultural heartbeat of the Stateline. You have to understand the vibe of this school. It is consistently ranked as one of the best in the state, but it is the sports culture that really defines it. Friday Night Lights isn't just a TV show here, it is reality. In the fall, on a Friday night, this road we are driving on is empty because everyone is at the stadium. You can hear the marching band drums echoing off these fields from 3 miles away. It binds the community together. Whether you are a doctor living in a mansion or a mechanic living in an apartment, you are wearing purple and gold on Friday. Keep your eyes on the telephone wires above us. See that silhouette? That is a red-tailed hawk. This is prime raptor country. Because of these open fields, the hunting is good. We get hawks, kestrels, owls. And if you are really lucky, and I mean really lucky, you might see a bald eagle commuting. They live near the river to the west, but they fly over these fields to get to different hunting grounds. Seeing a bald eagle soaring over a school bus is one of those moments that reminds you that we are still living in the wild, even if we have Wi-Fi. We are about halfway down Willowbrook now. The road is straight as an arrow. This is the surveyor's grid. When they mapped out the Midwest in the 1800s, they laid these roads out in perfect squares. It is efficient, but it can be hypnotic. I want to talk about the water for a second. We are crossing over a small rise here. You wouldn't know it, but there's a network of creeks, the Kinnickinnick Creek system, that flows underneath and around this area. It feeds into the Rock River. That water was the lifeblood for the Native American tribes who lived here for thousands of years. The Ho-Chunk people had massive settlements just north of here where the Turtle Creek meets the Rock River. When you look at these cornfields, try to peel back the layers of time. Imagine the wigwams. Imagine the council fires. This wasn't empty land waiting for a Walmart. It was a civilization long before we paved it. We are approaching the northern end of Willowbrook Road. You can see the landscape changing. It is getting a little denser. We are seeing more metal buildings, more warehouses. We are entering the orbit of South Beloit. South Beloit is a fascinating place. It is the gritty, blue-collar sibling to Roscoe's white-collar suburbia. For 100 years, the economy here was based on sand and gravel. Remember those glaciers I mentioned? They left behind millions of tons of aggregate. We mined it, and we built Chicago with it. The roads, the skyscrapers, a lot of that concrete started right here in the ground beneath us. We are coming up to the stop sign at the end of the road. We have a tricky little maneuver here. We are going to turn right, but then we have to make a quick jog. Turn right. Now stay sharp. We are merging onto US 51 South for literally 10 seconds. Look at the businesses here. Used car lots, garden centers, older motels. This is the old highway architecture. Before the interstate was built, this was the main road north. If you were driving to the Northwoods in 1950, you drove right past here. Okay, signal left. We are turning onto IL 75 East. This is the final leg. We are driving straight toward the state line now. I want to talk about the psychology of the state line. We are essentially in one single city that is cut in half by an imaginary line. South Beloit, Illinois and Beloit, Wisconsin is a border town existence. Living here means you are constantly code switching. You have friends in Wisconsin. You work in Wisconsin, but you sleep in Illinois. You pay Illinois property taxes, but you buy Wisconsin gas. You learn to play the game. Back in the day, the laws were very different. Wisconsin had different drinking ages, different fireworks laws, different hours for bars. People would cross the line to get what they couldn't get at home. That crossing the border energy is still here. It feels a little lawless, a little exciting. As we drive this stretch, look to your left. That is the heavy industrial zone. But beyond that smoke and those train tracks is a Renaissance story. Beloit, Wisconsin. 20 years ago, people wrote Beloit off. It was a dying factory town. The downtown was boarded up. It was rough. But then, a miracle happened. A local billionaire named Diane Hendricks, one of the richest self-made women in the world, decided to save her town. She poured money into the downtown. They took the old soot-stained ironworks factory and turned it into a high-tech corporate campus that looks like something out of Silicon Valley. They built a luxury hotel. They cleaned up the riverfront. And they brought in baseball. The Beloit Sky Carp. Yes, that is the real name. It's a slang term for a goose that doesn't migrate. They play in a stadium right on the river that is absolutely beautiful. Sitting there on a summer night, eating a bratwurst, watching the sun set over the water, it changes your perception of the Rust Belt. It proves that these towns can have a second act. We are seeing the signs now. The road is widening. The commercial density is picking up. We are passing the gas stations that advertise lowest prices. That is the border war in action. I want to prepare you for the transition. It sounds silly, but crossing into Wisconsin feels different physically. The road surface usually changes color because the state DOTs use different asphalt mixtures. The signage font changes. The license plates around you switch from the land of Lincoln to America's Dairyland. But mostly it is mental. For everyone in Illinois, that green sign up ahead represents escape. It represents the North. It means vacation. It means cabins, lakes, fishing boats, and relaxation. When you cross that line, your shoulders drop an inch. You are leaving the stress behind. And of course, there is the rivalry. The Bears versus the Packers. Is a cold war up here. You see the flags on the front porches. Neighbors trash-talking each other over the fence while they mow the lawn. Illinois drivers, FIBs as they call us up here, are accused of driving too fast. Wisconsin drivers are accused of driving too slow. Is a tale as old as the automobile. But deep down, we are all Midwesterners. We will scream at each other about football, but we will pull over in a blizzard to help you push your car out of a ditch. Okay, here it comes. Eyes forward. You see the green sign on the shoulder? The one with the badger on it. We are crossing the invisible line right now. Welcome to Wisconsin. Take a look in the rear-view mirror. You have officially left Illinois. You are now in Beloit. Just ahead of us is the interchange for the interstate, the road to Madison, and about 1,000 cheese shops. But this is where our tour ends. We just covered about 5 miles, but we traveled through a lot of history. We started in the modern commerce of the Walmart parking lot, drove through the glacial history of the soil on Willowbrook Road, past the ancient tribal lands of the Turtle Village, navigated the industrial grid of the border, and landed here in Dairyland. It is a short drive, but it is the story of the Midwest. Now do yourself a favor. Pull into the first gas station you see. Go inside and buy a bag of cheese curds. It is the law. If they don't squeak when you bite them, take them back. They aren't fresh. You earned it. Thanks for riding